Mena, Andy, good morning, Nora, Aiden, Medvik, sorry, Lily, Brian, Alan, JTM discount, okay, Isabella, Jay, Samir, Nitty, Swift Equity, T, how are you all? Pansy, good morning, young lady. Haven't talked to you in a while. Hope everything's going well. I'm glad to see all these people joining us, John.
Absolutely. We've made some slight additions and improvements to the menu, so I think it's going to be a little less overwhelming, with all the channels and selection as we get
Yeah, I
closer.
just noticed.
Yeah.
Looks cool. I like it. I like it. So now we have a general instead of a chat. What else has changed?
We are getting ready to release the marketplace here soon. I want to
Whew.
get that done by the end of this week so that people can go and get signed up. It'll have a lot better functionality than the Discord, for seeing properties and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of the other things we'll probably be bringing over to the website is like the Ask Questions channel, and a lot of the information that's been shared with the community will be posted in a bit of a more organized manner with articles and videos to watch so that people can get into the community at any level and begin learning about whatever it is they want to learn about. We've had experts in multiple different fields, from single family residential, experts like you in the creative space, um, wholesaling, commercial, vacant land, you name it, development, and we'll be able to get all of that information in an organized manner for people to actually go and read through.
Can't wait. Very excited about it. Um, but the communication is still going to be done here, right?
Yeah,
The
for the most
people
part.
communicating, talking, and all that stuff is going to be done in this Discord channel.
Absolutely. So the real time communication, events, live streams, that kind of thing will all happen still on the Discord, and more like
Mm-hmm.
articles, information, and resources that were in here are going to be moved to the website.
Very cool. Very cool. Resources you said as well, right?
Yep.
Awesome, awesome. So what kind of resources are we going to be bringing people?
That's a great question. We're going to have a whole bunch of stuff from calculators to repair estimators. We're trying to work out a comping tool that will allow you to enter an address and will help you to actually underwrite your deals. We're going to also be plugging you in with verified buyers that are on the platform. So people that have
Mm-hmm.
filled out a form that we have made contact with that tell us exactly what their buy box is, we are going to be able to connect you with them, and you're going to know where you've got to be at on your numbers for it to be a deal. Like, you'll know where your buyers are at in a specific zip code generally, and then you can negotiate from there.
Can't wait. Can't
Yeah,
wait.
a lot of
I may be
great
using
stuff.
a yeah, yeah. I'm looking forward to using those tools myself. So excited about that, as well as the marketplace, obviously. That's going to be huge. I think it's going to be huge for everybody. So I think when it's time to unveil the marketplace or the website, are you going to have like a special event or something like that going on?
Yeah, I think we definitely should. It's pretty well put together right now, all the functionality and that kind of stuff. But we've just
Hmm.
gotta polish it a little bit more to get it out there and make it perfect to really migrate everybody over there.
Yeah, yeah, of course. So once that's done, though, we're going to have like a preview and stuff like that on Discord, right?
Absolutely.
For everybody to see how it's done. And I'm sure it's going to probably get recorded. So if people missed it, they can go back and check it out.
Yeah.
Awesome. So what are we doing here today? Good morning, Nina. Why are we gathered here today?
Hanging out.
Rogue Steve, love it. Jumping in right away. How you doing, buddy?
Good morning.
Doing good. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic, fantastic. Thanks for
Right.
joining us.
Quick
How was your
hello
weekend?
to everyone. Yeah, good. Working away. I think John, when were we catching up? Was that this weekend?
I think that was on Friday night, Saturday night.
Friday night. Yeah. Some good chats with the community, hanging out. But yeah, how about you?
Yeah, doing well, doing well. It's a Monday, so Mondays are normally my busiest days. Got a lot of stuff that I need to take care of. Our meetings, team meetings, are on Mondays, so catching up on over the weekend. I found out that we just locked up 3 new properties this past weekend, so
Let's
got to
go.
jump on those. Yeah, yeah. So excited. Nina would love to do a role play. Come on up, Nina. Raise your hand and let's bring you up. Hey, I'll be right back, guys. I'll be right back.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
We're getting ready to go on ahead and hop into the day today. I know that a lot of people in here are excited. For me, I've got some leads that have come in, so I'm getting ready to hop on some phone calls. I've sent out some people to go take a look at some properties over the weekend, and we're gonna see what the week has ahead for us here. So Nina, you said that you wanted to do a role play.
A role play, yes.
Have you ever talked to a seller before?
I have a couple. I did some pre-foreclosure for a couple of months, and I was mainly just cold calling, and then I have done literally a couple of FISBOs. That's it.
Okay. So you have done a couple of FISBOs, and what were the experience like on the FISBOs?
Actually, they were good. I carried on with the conversation, but I mainly do DTA. So I kind of transfer the same experience over when I have talked to sellers and asked them the questions. And I think I submitted one of those leads with Uncle Lanza. I don't think it went anywhere, but yeah, I've been able to, engage them in conversations. For pre-foreclosure, it was a different experience. It was a lot of hit and miss. And I finally was able to talk to 3 sellers, one of them within 24 hours this is like the first time I didn't even know what to do. He sold his house to another investor. The other 2 I followed up with. One of them, they had like some situation. The other one I'm still following up with.
Okay. So it sounds like you're taking action. Now, how many agents are you speaking to, in a day?
So if I want to say on average, I speak to 3 to 5 agents a day because Mondays and Tuesdays I can talk more because I have babysitting. So I talk to at least at least to like 10 agents. And then the rest of the week, it's whatever I can, maybe like 2 agents, some days 3. I go that way.
Okay.
This is my daughter. She's saying hi, in
Hi.
case you guys are wondering.
And have you ever wondered like why go direct to agent versus going direct to seller?
Hi. It was just easier for me to. First of all, I didn't know what FISBOs were until much later on, and it was easier for me just to find the houses and the agents. So that was the main reason. And I also didn't know for a long time. I didn't know what kind of conversation you would have with the sellers, like if you went direct to sellers. And so now I'm just learning that, and maybe I can do some expired listings.
Quick question here. Just while we got a chance. So your pre-foreclosure calls, how did you end
Yes.
up on those calls? Were those listed things? How did you end up talking to the seller?
I found you're asking where I found the leads?
Yeah, not because I really care where they came from, but more just kind of how the context was with this. Was the seller surprised to be talking to you? How did you end up talking together?
So it was on PropWire. I found almost 100% of them on PropWire, and I would I would find the phone number. You would usually text them first, and some of them would, literally cost me out and
Okay.
say, don't call us, don't, whatever, you're a scam. And the ones who did respond, I would call because so every day I would text and then call. And some of them answered, some of them didn't. But anybody who texted me back and said, yes, what information do you have? Then we would pick up and, have a conversation.
That was why I was asking. I was curious if you had been in the trenches, so to speak, with a seller who does not want to talk to you, because that's what you got to expect. That's what the world of YouTube does not show us of the glorious
Right.
place of wholesaling and off-market real estate in general. You will be talking to a lot of people who do not want to talk to you, and I think that's where role play is most useful.
Right.
Getting ready to think on your feet with somebody who is, you've surprised them and they're going to surprise you too because of that. You've kind of ambushed them with the cold call, and now they're going to
It's true.
grill you about your entire life and what you're trying to do. So yeah, you need to be ready.
Yes. Yes, absolutely.
That's where a script won't help you. You can get a couple talking points, but at the same time, you just need to be able to talk, because what you're doing, you're in acquisitions here, and acquisitions people need to be able to just gab and think on their feet.
Very true. And I think that's where my hang up is. I know the majority of questions, but I don't know how to dig deep in the conversations and keep them in the conversation, whether it's an agent or the seller.
That is a great point too, and that's exactly what acquisitions is all about. Because when most people start, they're fighting to get off the phone. They're almost regretting it when somebody picks up. They're like, "Oh no, here we go," and they ask their questions. Okay, how old's the roof? Okay, how old's the hot water heater? Okay, well, let me talk to my partner and I'll get back to you. Bye. And they're doing the best to get out of there. But when you get used to it, you're going to be trying to keep them on the phone for as long as you can to get more information. And a key to that, a good starting place, is open-ended questions. So instead of asking how many beds and baths is the house, you can start the call with something like, okay, so Nina, tell me about the place. I'm looking at it here, but I can only see so much online. Just bring me up to speed on the property. What kind of property is this? Some version of that. Bring me up to speed, catch me up to speed. A lot of people use that. And then you're just going to get a bit of a story. And now it's time for you to take notes while you're listening, because you'll never remember everything. It's cool if your calls are recorded, but taking notes is key. And then you just let them go. And that way it's less of an interrogation versus just an open-ended conversation. You ask a question. Oh, okay. No, interesting. Well, good job with the extension on the property. And past that, how are things looking with the plumbing and electrical? Anything to speak of there? And try to get a few things on each time, and it's just much more natural. You'll get lots of information. And the fun part is, even though all this is just related to the property, you're building up rapport the entire time, and you ask basic questions, but by the end of the call, you're comfortable with each other, and you can ask more kind of uncomfortable questions because you have the rapport built up to be able to do that.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm taking notes.
All right, excellent. I'm just going off here, Bob, while you're muted away here. I don't know if you're going to step in for a role play with us.
Yes, I mean, I can. I don't know if I can do a live one because I'm on my phone.
I would also like to do a role play as well.
Awesome. Why don't we have both of you do role plays with one another? One time, one of you can be the buyer, the other seller, and the next time we switch it around.
Sure.
I'll start then. Nina, do you want to be the seller and I'll be the buyer?
Sure, that sounds good.
All right. Ring, ring, ring.
Hello.
Hey, is this Nina?
Yes, this is she.
Excellent. Is now a bad time to talk?
No, may I ask who's calling?
Yes, my name is Brian Hunger. I'm with an investment team, and I'm looking at your property XXX at XXX. Is that yours? Is that correct?
That is my property, yes.
Oh, perfect, perfect. All right. So I had a couple of quick questions. Can you tell me a little bit about the property?
Sure. I mean, I bought it last year. We spent about $30,000 on it to renovate and everything. So we just put it up for sale. We want to see, what we can get for it.
Okay, all right, awesome. And like I'm looking at the price now as far as the price, are you pretty firm on the price, or is there any wiggle room?
Well, I mean, we actually recently reduced the price. I would like to not go any lower than what we have listed it as. But what do you have? What can you offer?
Well, see, here's what I was thinking is I was gonna do a cash acquisition, and so I like to kind of cut out the real estate agents, go right to title. That way, it makes
Okay.
it really super clean and also really quick. So my partner and I,
Okay.
we like to we're in your area, and what we like to do is we like to buy up properties to add to our rental portfolio, and so that's what we're really trying to accomplish here. Looks like your property may be in the right price range that we're looking for. Um,
Okay.
can you tell me, you said you bought it a year ago, is that correct?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, perfect. Can you tell me a little bit more about the property as far as like the condition of the roof and all that fun stuff?
We actually renovated most of the property. The roof seems to be in pretty good shape, so we didn't touch the roof. But the plumbing is uh redone. The interior is completely redone, as you can see in the pictures.
Yeah, it's
The
gorgeous.
bathrooms, yes, the bathrooms and everything. So I don't think there's anything that needs to be repaired or replaced or maintained.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, so this looks like this could work out for all of us involved. And so like what I was saying is, as far as wiggle room, as far as within the price, again, we don't have to lock it down right this second, but I just want to know like what are we talking here? Because I know that I can see that you just discounted it by 10,000. What I was thinking of, because originally you were at 170, now you're at 160. So what I was thinking of is if I came in at 140, but again, and then as far as we take care of closing costs, and then there's no commission to go to any real estate agent, and like I said, we can close between 3 and 7 days traditionally through that method. Would that be something you'd be open to?
Um, honestly, I don't want to go that low, but I do have to speak to my husband.
Oh yeah, no, no, no.
You
Absolutely, 100%. No, no, we want to make sure everybody's on the same page. We want to make sure it's clear and concise. That way, there's no questions or anything like that. But again, like I said, with my partner and I'm looking at my margins and I'm looking at my cash flow when I want to turn it into a rental, and I'm looking at comp rent around your area. And so, in
Mhm.
order for us to make our numbers, that's why I'm saying, like, if we can work together, absolutely, I'd love to work with you and make this happen for all of us, and help you out. So it's really, like I said, it's a really matter of like we're really close already. We just need to like get it over the finish line. And like I said, if you talked with your husband and you guys are okay with the number that we're offering, then we would love to see this thing happen, and then that way we can create, you know what I mean, like satisfy each
Right.
and all parties involved. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, I mean, so is that the highest you can offer us?
Well,
140?
again, that the reason I'm at 140 is because I'm looking at on our end my margins, and so and again I see that it's on the market now for just over 80 days, so it's not moving very quickly. I want to offer you that quick exchange. That way you don't have to worry about it. And again, that's why I'm asking to work with the price a little bit, because I know if you can work with me on the price, then that way I can make my margin and then we can make this thing happen. And then, like I said, making sure everybody's happy. But like like I said, the ball's in your court, and I definitely would love to help you out, and it would also help me out, obviously, to acquire this property for that price. So, I mean, and I know that you said you wanted to speak with your husband. Would it be a better would it be better to have maybe you and your husband and me we'll sit down and we can go over all the details again at a later date, at a more convenient date where both of you guys are available? Would that work out?
I mean, yeah, I have to talk to him because 140 honestly cuts it very close to what we have spent on the property. But yeah, I can talk to my husband. He's actually the numbers guy. So
Perfect.
when it comes to numbers, I trust his judgment. So yeah, it is something that I would have to speak to him about. And yeah, if we can, the three of us can talk. We've had a
That's. Oh, go
couple of
ahead. Sorry.
offers. Yeah, yeah, we've had a couple of offers, but we didn't really like them. So, we're eager to sell.
Well, let me ask you this: am I ballpark to the other offers, or did they way lowball you?
No, they were way
Yeah.
lower than
And
what you're offering.
and again, like I said, I want to make this a clean, good deal for everybody. And like I said, as soon as we get that, as soon as we do just a straight cash deal, we go right to the title company for the exchange. What happens is our escrow time is super quick. We get to run it right through, making
Uh-huh.
sure. And again, like I said, we're going to take care of that title insurance on our end.
Right.
We're gonna take care of those closing costs. So therefore, no real estate agent involved. So minus that, 3 to 6% going on where people are paying commissions and all that fun stuff. So that's why I'm not like way undercutting you. What I want to offer you is something that's fair for both of us. And if you feel it's fair and your husband feels it's fair, then we can do a deal. Like that's and like I said, my partner and I would love to work with you on this because we do see the potential in the property. And again, like I said, at the end of the day, this only works out if everybody involved is all on the same page and all agreeing on the same numbers. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, for
Perfect.
sure.
Awesome, Nina. Well, why don't we do this? What day do you think you and your husband would be available? Like traditionally,
I'm I mean, today is good. Usually after 5, 6 p.m. we're available.
after 6 p.m. Let me just check my calendar real quick. You know what? Let me do this. This is your number, so what I can do is I can text you afterwards. I'm gonna have to reach out to my partner, just confirm that our numbers are in line, and then why don't we do this? We'll do a group call at 6 o'clock today. If I'm available, if I'm not, then what I'll do is I'll text you with a different option as far as scheduling. Does that sound fair?
Yeah, that's okay.
Perfect, perfect, awesome, Nina. Well, hey, you have a great day, and I look forward to talking to you shortly. All
Thank you.
right, click.
I like the click at the end too. Thanks.
That was good. Like the click.
Nicely
So,
done.
Brian, how do you feel? How do you feel
Uh,
like you did?
I didn't nail it down to where I didn't put enough pressure. I feel like I had it really, really close, and I could have like pushed a little bit harder. But I also knew it's a one. I also know it's a one legger, and I'm not one calling a cold call one legger. That's just not happening.
Yeah.
Therefore, I need to have both buyers on the call, and then that way when I then represent the offer, I'll have all my numbers, know if I'm going to be able to sell it and what margin I'm going to assign it at, and then make sure that the end buyer can cash flow because that's the only way the deal is going to go through, right? Like and I'm going to have that research done already. This is just the intro call. I was like, hey, let's talk about wiggle room. Oh, we're really close. Like, oh, we've been lowballed. Awesome. It's been on the market for X amount of days. Like, you clearly want to get rid of it. You're motivated. Let me help you. Like, let me help you get this taken care of. Let's do it clean. Let's do it quick. Let's get real estate agents out of the way. Let's go right to the title company, and I'll just disposition myself with the title company at that point. So, and offering that clean deal, they're willing to take maybe another 10 grand off, maybe another 15 grand off. Right. And then now that I know, again, based on the market rents, because I've done a little research before I called, that number could work. And then I have my end buyer. As soon as I got off the phone with Nina, I would then immediately go in within a 2 mile radius, roughly, see all of the apartment or all the houses that are similar that's for rent, anything that's rent by owner, and then I start making calls and I get my buyer lined up. So then I call through the available, and I say I then have a second call with the person that's trying to rent out that current house, and I give them basically a soft adjustment of, hey, I got this 3-2. It's really great condition. It's been rehabbed, new roof, everything's brand new. I'm looking at right around the X amount of dollars, a little bit more than what I'm going to try and obviously get Nina to sell it for. Would that be something that you'd be interested in adding into your portfolio? It's actually within some close proximity to a couple of one of your other properties. Does that sound like something you'd be interested in? And then they're like, yes, obviously you want to walk the property. Awesome. Perfect. Click. Next one. Same thing. Same thing. Get 2 or 3 buyers lined up. That way I know once I have it under contract, then I know I have those 3 buyers, and I'm like, now it's a bidding war between the 3 buyers. And so I might even make a little bit more margin between the 3 buyers. Hey, I got 2 other buyers. They're both looking at it at the same time you are. Just let me know, whoever gives me the best price first, and we got a deal. I'm already in title. It's going to take 3 to 7 days, depending on the area you're in. Blah 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 blah. Like pull the trigger or not, kind of deal. And then that's it. So I guess I feel pretty okay about it.
Okay, very cool. So you gave us a rundown of your business. Now, let me ask you a quick question. How
Sure.
many of the calls that you make do you close on the first call?
You know what? I Not often, not enough. I wish I could
Percentage-wise.
get on the phone and
10%, 30%,
probably like
50%,
no
1%.
20 maybe 20%, I would say, as far as interested buyers where we actually talk numbers, where we're already on the same page. And then as far as me like emailing the DocuSign. And and also too, just FYI, I like to do owner finance versus cash.
Cool.
I'm not opposed to cash. I love cash. Cash is great. Cash is king. But my go-to is definitely owner finance, especially and I'm not opposed to sub twos too, especially with like really good interest rates, or a hybrid where it's a owner finance and or cash, and then again the trust acquisition essentially. So I've only done 2 of those so far, so I'm not really well versed. And remember, I've only been doing this for like 2 months now. I want to say 2 months. Yeah. So I'm still brand new.
Okay, yeah. So 20% is very good. I'll be honest. Most good closers, can they close on the first call? Sure, absolutely. Okay, but the percentages for most people, it's very low. It's like 10% or less. Okay, so you need to make sure that you have the right expectations. Okay, when you're making phone calls. Okay, can it happen? Yes, but decide what kind of a business you really want. Do you want a sustaining business? Do you want a business that's continuously working and lasting? Or do you want to just try and throw everything at the fan and see what sticks and then go for that? Okay. So, me and my team, for example, our goal is to close on 2 calls. Okay. 2 plus. Okay. We don't go for the kill on the first call. And that's just up to us. Okay. I know there are several other very successful people who do it on the first call. For us, we found that 2 plus calls works better. That gives us a little bit of time to do our research. We don't do research beforehand because we find that it slows us down. Okay. But if we are just making the calls and talking to people to find out who's really interested and what their motivation is first, okay, then we can build that rapport and that relationship and be able to get the price that we really need. So that's up to you. Now, as far as your calls, because let me go back to Nina. Nina, how do you think Brian did?
Yeah, I actually think, I mean, he was very confident. He came across as very knowledgeable, but I actually think he was a little bit pushy. I know he thinks he wasn't pushy enough, but I felt, there was a lot of active talking, but not a lot of active listening. But it did make me feel good that he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. He comes across very confident, like you said. like he knows what he's talking about. Um, and as far as being pushy, I mean, honestly, Brian, I think Nina was just playing along with you. If I don't know what your experience has been, but if we call FISBOs or homeowners, even if they're not FISBOs, and we push like that, they're going to tell us to F off and go, take a hike. At the beginning, I'm talking about. You're very smooth and very good in parts of your pitch, which is great. Um, but at the very beginning, I think you could use a little bit of work. Okay. So start again with your beginning, please. Hi, is this Nina? I think that's how you started. Oh,
Yeah, I lost him.
I hope I
Can
didn't
I
offend him.
can I throw something in there real quick on that because
Yeah,
and
please.
I hope he can hear us. Here he is. Yeah, get him back up. There we go.
Sorry.
I just wanted to lend a little bit of insight in what I think is going on there because I was listening and it was good. The confidence is there, which
Yeah.
is key. That's almost more important than somebody who's like choking for sure. If you're choking and you can't get a word out, that I don't think you're going to be able to do acquisitions. But that's clearly not you. You are able to speak to somebody and carry a conversation, which is great. But I think I figured it out in the end when you said you're very fresh to this. You've only been doing it 3 months. You're very excited. That's what's going on here. You're excited, and that's why you're talking about a lot of things. You're giving lots and lots of information that you don't necessarily have to on the call. You're just talking about your margins and getting into all this stuff, and it's cool because you do want to bring a seller up to speed. But however, like as Nina says, you want to be listening. Your goal is to get them talking and listen to them, and even that has its limits. You don't want to be getting into their entire life story, but if you can keep that focused on the property and speak calmly and measured, slow it down like I'm doing right now, you're going to be able to just keep a calm conversation, not freak somebody out, and get the information required. So I would say for one, just slow down, take a breath. I felt like you're a bit of a machine gunner. She was doing very well, like matching with you, which if I were you, I'd probably keep going with it because all is well. You're keeping pace with each other. But it is comforting to like 90% of people if you can just slow it right down. Take a breath. They're not showing any signs they're going to hang up on you, and just take it easy. But definitely, you've got the confidence, and I imagine you're going to fine tune this real well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And again, I know that obviously it's a mock call, so I think, and I know there's an audience too, so that's why it's a little bit different. So
Yeah, sure.
whereas if there's not the audience and no one's looking, and I'm not checking my brain as I'm talking versus just like ebbs and flow, I feel like I can do a lot more calmer, a lot more, just getting kind of to the point. And I should have listened to more. I was trying to like listen to
Right.
keynotes and then also think of how I was going to react to those notes, in real time, real quick. And so I think I agree with you on that. Like I try not to be that like enthusiastic, I guess. And also whoever answers the phone, I try and go to their level. So whatever level that they're at is where I'm going to try and match that.
That's
So
very important. Yeah.
yeah,
Couple things. Steve shared some really great advice in the beginning of the stream about asking open-ended questions, and I think that
Mhm.
that's one thing that you might be able to implement in the call. I think that the introduction of the call, I'm not sure, kind of what the scenario was. If it was, because I understand it was on market, but I don't understand if it was listed with an agent already or if it was a FISBO. Um, though, I mean, if you know that you're calling the seller and you know their name and you know that they own that house, those are not questions that I would ask in the beginning of the call because it could create unnecessary friction. So any questions that could create an opportunity for them to shut you down or say no, those are probably not the best to be asked in the beginning. But I think that you build great rapport, and you could build some more rapport by asking some more open ended questions. But huge shout out to you, Brian, for hopping up on the stage and doing the call live in front of everybody. I know sometimes that can make people nervous, to speak in front of people, but you crushed it. You did a great job, and I'm excited to see, how you continue to grow and make more calls.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
I
man.
mean,
I
for
appreciate
for 2 months, if you've been in this for only 2 months, you're doing excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent. Just
Agreed.
keep up the great work.
Absolutely.
yeah.
it. Yeah, I'm transitioning. I was in the solar world, so yep.
Ah,
There you
we
go.
got a
Now we get
salesman here. That's why. Yeah,
Smaller
Eh,
things.
solar people. I've found solar people who go door knocking, door to door sales, vacuum cleaners in the past or whatever, or uh, people who are in the military, police officers, firemen. Those are the ones that normally do really, really well because they're very disciplined and they have their stuff together. So they move normally faster and they can empathize and sympathize with people and can relate really well. So
yeah,
good job.
I wish I would have obviously I wish I would have slowed it down. That was my big thing. But the other thing too is, and I know you're saying open, and I call them calibrated questions, where I'll allow them to talk, and I didn't do that, and my active listening was not where it should have been, to be absolutely honest. And then the one thing that I noticed too, as far as empathy and stuff, when she said, "Oh yeah, we put 30 grand in, we've had it for a year," and then I kind of just was like, "Okay, that's it. That's all the information I need," and I should have like dove deeper of like, well, is it the area? Are you trying to move out of the area? Are you moving with like, and play more detective? Like, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
Yeah.
I didn't do that, and I normally would, because again, when you show that active listening, and you also, again, with authentic empathy, it's a game changer. Like, it changes the whole mood of the whole conversation. So, and I didn't do that, and I know that I didn't do that.
Real quick on that. There was one thing that I had as like a critique, but then you kind of fixed it before the end of it. Was when she dropped the line of needing to talk to the husband. I was like, oh, is he going to bring him in? And you didn't. You went over it and went back to talking about your margins and stuff and all sorts of things. But then later you caught it. I was like, okay, is there a better time when we can have your husband on the call? And that's great. That's something I think a lot of people in the beginning avoid. They want to avoid bringing on more people on the call, but for some reason, I think they're actually more comfortable calls. There's something about a group call that is just that little bit more chill. I think everybody thinks they're going to get cornered and grilled, and I just, in my experience, very rarely I find that to have. That's not the case. But also, yeah, never avoid the other decision makers. Get them in there as quick as possible because one, you did it, so you already know. But just for everybody in here, imagine what it's like. Imagine your dad reaches out to you one day. All of you people in here are all real estate people, so you're learning something here. But imagine your dad reaches out and says, "Hey, I've just been talking to this guy Steve. I'm going to sell him my house." Whoa, what do you mean, Dad? Who the hell is Steve? What are you talking about? You're
Yep.
going to freak out. So imagine what it's like for somebody's wife or their family member. It's going to be the exact same thing, especially if they're a decision maker. Because guess what? Imagine it was your house and your spouse or whoever, your partner, is selling it out from under you. They're going to shut it down just out of principle. I'd be like, nah, tell that Steve to go screw himself. We're not doing that. So always bring them in as early as possible to that conversation. And it's so simple too. Like, yeah, Nina told me a lot about you. Really glad we could chat. Didn't want to go any further without us speaking. And like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. And it's just so easy peasy. So I'm glad you caught that. But again, back to that point of just kind of listening. You mentioned earlier that you were trying to think and formulate responses on the spot, and I'm glad you were able to maintain a level of kind of smooth conversation doing that. Because you know what happens? Most people who are starting out, who start doing that, they get into these feedback loops in their head. And then you end up with big gaps in the conversation because Bob's telling me something about the roof. And I'm thinking about something I can say back to him about the roof, but he's already talking
Mhm.
about the hot water heater. And okay, now I'm thinking about the roof and the hot water heater instead of just having a normal conversation. And that's what happens when you turn on that active listening, you push that active listening button and you just kind of relax and listen. You don't have to worry about responses because you don't have to think about what to say to the person on the other end of the phone when you're ordering a pizza. You don't think about that when you're talking to somebody at the mailbox. You just do it, and it will be the same in this. You just kind of let go, take notes, keep it chill, and that's also how you don't miss anything. And you when you hear something, you're like, oh, so what was that about that 30,000? Was there a specific reason behind that? Like, you're able to catch the things and ask questions because you weren't in your own head formulating some kind of response, like you said, but you recognize it, which is fantastic.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. I think it's time for Nina to be the buyer now. You ready, Brian? You're a seller. Nina, what kind of
Yes.
list or what kind of house are you going after in this?
Well, we can do FISBOs.
Up to you. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
Nina, I would say do a seller that isn't expecting to talk to you, if I could, just as a suggestion, just because it's something you haven't done so much. But you just did it with Brian there. You know how it goes. People don't know who you are, but I think you've maybe done 1 or 2 of those calls in your life so far, right?
Yes. So for sell by owner, but they're not expecting my call. Is that what you're saying?
Okay. Oh, I don't think about it as, I was just going to say like a straight up cold call, but if you're planning on doing FISBOs, no, completely up to you.
Okay. Okay.
So which one would you like to do?
I'll do FISBOs. I don't know.
Okay.
I thought that was cold calling. I don't know if there's any other kind of call. So you just call people who don't even want to sell their houses?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what you were doing with your pre-foreclosures, correct? With the prop wire stuff?
Yes.
And because they weren't on market.
Yes, that's correct.
Exactly. So that's a cold call. That's a straight up cold call. I know you texted beforehand, but this is not listed. They're not, they don't know who you are, but that's pretty much a straight up cold call.
Okay. So let's do one of those. Yeah, we'll do a pre-foreclosure because I like those calls.
There you go. All right.
Good. Okay.
So Brian, you are in a situation where your house is getting foreclosed on, and let's say you have 21 days before the auction date hits. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
All right.
Okay. Ring.
Hello.
Hello, is this Brian?
Yeah, this is Brian.
Hello, Brian. This is Nina. I'm calling regarding your house on 123 Main Street. I see that your bank has put a hold on your account or on your house. Are you aware of it? Did you know that?
Yeah, we were aware of it. Yeah.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. And I think, as I see in my notes, you guys have 20 days to auction dates.
21. Yeah.
21 days. Okay. So how are things going? How did this happen?
Just, we had some circumstances, and my wife lost her job, and so now it's been really tough on us.
It's been really tough. Yeah, I bet. I'm so sorry to hear that. How is she doing now?
We're good. We're gonna, she's got some really good interviews coming up, so we should be able to get back on track.
Okay, that's good to hear. That's good to hear. Yeah, Brian, so my team and I actually, we've been helping a lot of people in your areas, and we help people who want to keep their house to be able to keep their house so they don't have to give it to the bank, and they don't have to lose their house, damage their credit and go in debt a lot more. So have you guys looked at any options that you guys have to be able to keep your house? Has anybody reached out to you regarding that?
We've had a couple of calls. Yeah.
Okay. And did any of those options sound interesting to you guys?
There was a guy that he wanted to basically take over our mortgage, the remainder balance on the mortgage.
I see.
And then we basically stay in the house, and then we essentially pay him rent until we get enough down payment to then rebuy our house.
Okay, to rebuy your house. Okay, that's very interesting. And you guys weren't interested in that?
We're discussing it. The wife and I are definitely discussing it. Yeah. What were you thinking? What were you kind of thinking?
So it depends. If you guys want to stay in the house, there are some options, and if you qualify for them, you can actually get to keep your house. So you don't have to sell. And so the first one, and I want to ask you if it's okay. By the way, is it okay if I'm talking to you, or you can relay the message to your wife, or are you both decision makers?
No, I'm the main decision maker.
You're the main decision maker. Okay, that's good. So it depends on how long have you guys been behind? Do you know how many months you guys have been behind?
Yeah, we're 4 months behind.
4 months behind. Okay. And how much is that roughly? Do you have an estimate?
It's X amount of dollars.
Okay. Okay. So, Brian, the first option that I always offer people is a loan reinstatement, which means you can ask your family and friends because it's not that much money. But if you have people in your life that you can ask them to lend you the money, you can gather the money. You can tell them, hey, I'll pay you once I stand back on my feet and we both have jobs and everything is back to normal. And then you can give that money to the bank. So you take care of the pre-foreclosure, you are going to be current with the loans. Is that an option? Do you think you have anybody that you can ask for the money from?
Not really.
You don't have anybody. So the loan restatement would not be an option for you guys.
Yeah, that's not an option.
It's not an option. Okay. The second one is oh my gosh, I forgot. The second one, what you can do is we can help you actually get you back up to speed with your loan and everything is there's a company that I work with and they will lend you the money that you need and then they will deal with the bank and everything. They will disperse that money within your loan. I don't know if that's something, and that depends on a couple of other different variants. I want to know if your wife has lost her job, but do you have a job? Are you working right now?
Yep. I'm
You
working.
are okay. Okay, so that's something that you guys might qualify for, and that way again you can take care of all the things, all the headaches that you guys have been having right now, and that's the second option. And we're gonna have to see if you will qualify for it. But the third option, Brian, that I really don't like, but it's like a band-aid kind of type of a solution, and it works at least for like the time being, is to declare for bankruptcy. And when you do that, Brian, what happens is, it takes care of the pre-foreclosure and everything, but it stays in your record. I don't know if that's something that you guys will be interested in.
That might be the option that we're going to go with. But we're, again, like I said, we're still kind of thinking it over.
Yeah, you're thinking about your choices. Okay, that makes sense. And so the gentleman, or the person that said is gonna buy your house, they said they're just gonna take over your mortgage. Do you guys have any equity left on the house, or have you paid any of the do you have any equity on the house?
We do have a little bit of equity, but not a lot. I think I want to say maybe 20 grand total.
20 grand. Okay. So, but is selling your house a route that you guys want to take? Would that help you guys basically move on?
Well, I mean, if we can get the right price for it, then yeah. I mean, because the thing is, we have the mortgage hanging over our head. So, and we're, like I said, we're behind on the mortgage. So,
Okay.
and right now, if I were to sell it, I want to get as much of that equity that I've built into it since. So, that's why, if I were to sell it, I'd look for, X amount of dollars.
Okay. So basically, if somebody comes and they can pay you the $20,000 that you have on equity and take over your mortgage, you guys will be okay with that option.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That would work.
Okay. Okay. That sounds good. So, that if you guys want to take that route, that is something that I can help you with. And we can put the money in your pocket, the 20,000. We'll take care of the pre-foreclosure, and you guys can move on, or you guys can stay in the house and just pay rent, and we'll take over your mortgage, and we'll take care of all the late fees and everything for you guys.
Yeah, that sounds like we'd be interested in that. Yeah, that does sound pretty good.
Okay. Okay. So let's do this, Brian. I can stop by later today, or we can do a Zoom call with you and your wife, and I'll go over all the details. I'll explain everything to you. We'll go over all the options again with both of you, so you guys are both up to speed, and then we can make an informed decision.
Oh, that sounds like a plan.
Okay,
We'll be
sounds good. So
available after 6 today.
that's perfect. So we can do one at 6:30. I'll give you guys time to get home and settle in. So 6:30 works for you guys?
Yeah, that works.
Okay, perfect. And this is your cell phone number, correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. So I'll send you the Zoom link and the details of our meeting at 6:30, and I'm looking forward to meeting you, both you and your wife, on the Zoom today.
Perfect. All right. Sounds good.
Sounds good. It was good to speak with you. Thank you.
Bye for now. Click.
Bye. Click.
Click.
That's
Good
going to
job.
become something new. Click at the end.
Yes.
So Nina, how do you feel? How do you think you did?
I mean, I forgot. I still don't remember what was the name of the second option. It was loan restatement, and then
No,
that part I messed up
yeah.
because I haven't done that in a while.
Yeah. So I put it up for you, but it was a little late. But yeah, it's loan modification was the second one.
Modification. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Now I remember. Okay. I
But
think
besides that,
I mean, he was an easy pre-foreclosure. Most of them are not like that.
right.
And he was very cooperative. So
Very.
it made it
Yeah.
a little bit easier. But I
Mhm.
think in the beginning, my usually with pre-foreclosure, they're not as open for me to ask questions about the house and what happened. So that part I think was a little bit, I could have asked better questions to like get to the bottom of what happened, the pain
There you go.
points,
There you go.
and yes, have
Yeah.
more of my
So
ammunition.
that was my biggest takeaway from your call from this role play was that you were providing solutions and you were being very logical. And unfortunately, in a pre-foreclosure situation, logic is in second place. Logic does not play
Right.
an important part. Okay. Logic will come after you've built that relationship and rapport and are on the same page with them. You've empathized with them. They understand that you're on their team. And what you're bringing to the table is for their good. Okay. Otherwise, they're going to
Correct.
say, you're just another investor who wants to steal my house and make a buck off of me during my time of duress. Okay.
Okay.
So, hit hard. Remember, the two main questions always in pre-foreclosures are, which you hit, what happened? Okay, so you ask that question for sure. So how did you get here? What happened? Right? And then you got to dig. You got to dig deep in that, okay, and
Okay.
empathize with them in that part, okay? And
Okay.
then what's your plan, which you alluded to, and he brought
Okay.
up himself, okay? So those are the two main things in a pre-foreclosure, and you brought them up. But you just have to go a lot deeper, especially on the what happened, so you can empathize and you can also bring stories in. Okay, this is
Okay.
the part that you bring in stories about how you were able to help someone else that was in a similar situation as them. Okay,
Okay. Got it.
so those two things. I think your relatability was good. It just could be better. The other thing is because we said, he's got 21 days before the auction date, and he kept on talking about thinking about choices. Okay. I would
Yes.
lean a little bit on that more. Okay. I'd say, yes,
Okay.
I think you definitely should be thinking about your choices, but you have to remember you only have 21 days and nobody's going to be able to come in and help you if you wait until the last minute, not even us. Okay.
Got it.
You need to make that decision. Time is of the essence. You need to make that decision as soon as possible. Okay. I'm here to help. Okay. I'm here to provide whatever help you guys need and provide solutions for you. And that's when you get into all the, 5 steps and 5 solutions and stuff like that. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. And I also love the fact that you're going to stop by or do a Zoom with the wife. You want to make sure that the wife is there because even though when he says that he's the decision maker, most of the
Yes.
times he's not. Okay.
Yeah,
So
that has blown up so many times, and you can't trust seller at their word for it. I hate to say it, but yeah,
That's why I
that'll
said it. I'm
happen
sorry.
over and over until you learn it. Yeah.
yeah,
True.
exactly.
Okay.
But overall, well done. Especially
I thought that
since
was a
Thank
great
you.
call.
you haven't done it in a while, so it's good.
Thank you.
What
Yeah.
about Steve and John? What do you guys have for Nina?
No real feedback. I would say just one, pre-foreclosures aren't really my space, so I don't know too much about it. But yeah, after implementing Bob's stuff, I would say this is just the cherry on top. For me, would be just a bit more of that kind of emotion stuff because you're saying the right words, and I loved kind of how you were like, especially how you asked about the wife. I thought that was awesome. That was probably
Yep.
my favorite part of the call, where you're like, so
Mhm.
how are things with her now? And he was like, well, good. And also great job on that, Brian. You know,
Mhm.
that you weaved a good little story there. But you know, he's willing to share, and that's how most people are in general. It's a silly thing. I don't know if anybody's read Dale Carnegie, but like, if
Yes.
oh, perfect. People would just love to talk about themselves.
Yes.
And if you can really listen and empathize with their problems, and let that show too, be like, you know what, that is super rough. I am so sorry to hear that. You were saying all the right words, and I would just say if there's just a touch more emotion on it, because this is an
Okay.
emotional call, that's what takes this call from good to great, in my humble opinion. I think you've got it. You're right there, and if you add just a touch more emotion to it without going into, like, you know, sleazy salesman mode, it's gonna be great. But again,
Okay.
obviously we're in a simulated environment here, and it's
Yes.
different. But I thought it was a fantastic call, and that's all I would say.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course.
What an excellent panel that we have here, ladies and gentlemen. What an excellent group of people. Nina, Brian, thank you so much for coming and joining us this morning and throwing yourselves into the fire, the line of fire here. Because, I know this stuff definitely isn't easy, especially if it's your first time, hopping up and speaking, in front of a lot of people. But I think that these guys did an excellent job, ladies and gentlemen. We got to see some support in the chat. Can we get some ones in the chat for Nina and Brian this morning? How many of us are here today? We got 46 people in the audience. Let's drop some support in the chat for Nina and Brian. Overall, I think it was a fantastic call. I think that both Bob and Steve have given you some really great actionable advice. There's a lot of support in the chat from the people that are listening this morning. Grateful for everybody participating this morning, whether you've been up on the stage or listening to us in the audience or contributing, in the conversation in the chat here. The only thing that I could really say is that you're on the right path and you're doing everything that you need to be. You're in proximity with the people that are doing what you want to accomplish. Brian, just in 2 short months, has been able to close a couple deals. That's incredible. Even with the transition from different sales backgrounds, absolutely incredible. So you're in great company. And the only suggestion that I can really make to you all is just to continue to persist on the phones, continue to make as many calls as you can, continue to put in the reps, and that's really the best way to find your groove on the phone. A lot of people have different suggestions, and I would definitely structure my call differently than maybe anybody else, even up on the stage, who has more experience making calls than I do. But that's just to show, there's no concrete objective right way, to structure your call. Yes, there are, 4 pillars that we want to get, and we want to frame our call to be complete and have some sort of result and gather, information that we're looking for from the call. But each of us has a unique style on how we communicate and we speak to people, and the best way to find that style and create that style is by having more conversations. So that's going to be my advice, is just to talk to more people.
Love that. Absolutely. I think if I were to try to do things the John way or the Bob way, it wouldn't work. I got to do it my way. There's only one way to figure out what that is, which is just smashing a load of calls.
That's it. Action. Volume will always beat, perfection. Done is better than perfect. Guys, got to remember that. You got to go through your numbers. You got to go through your KPIs and know your numbers, okay? In order to be able to know and predict, your business. How many calls do you need to make? How many conversations do you need to have? How many of those conversations are going to turn into negotiations and contracts? How many of those contracts are you able to close? All of those are important numbers that you need to know. And you won't know it on day 1, month 2, month 3. You're going to have a better idea at month 6. You're going to have a very good idea at year 1. Okay? And you're always going to need to keep track of all these numbers. Always. Okay? So, T, brought it up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, starting tomorrow, every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time, my two underwriters and I are going to be here in this live stream, and we're going to underwrite deals for you guys. Okay, we can share some leads that come to us and how we underwrite it, what we look for, what we do, what kind of exit strategies are we looking at, okay, for each one. And then based on that, we decide how to move forward with those leads, whether it's a yes or no, as John put it, deal or no deal. So starting tomorrow at 5 p.m., we're going to be here. Hope to see all of you here and more, and we'll be able to help anybody we can. So I hope everyone has a great day. It is 9:03 a.m. Pacific time, my time. I got to jump off because we've got meetings coming up, and I hope everybody has a great day. Remember, today is not the first day of the week. It's not the first day of the month. Okay, it's the day one of your business. If you think of every day as your day one, okay, you're going to improve a lot more. Don't think of Wednesdays as hump days. Don't think of Fridays as thank God it's Fridays. It's just another day. Day one. If you just keep saying day one, which means that you're actually resetting your day, your business, your life every day. You have that choice. You have that option. Okay? So I hope everybody does great today on their day one, and then tomorrow on their day one. Have a great day, everyone.
Take care, Bob. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the #1 most valuable real estate community in existence. If you haven't already, you've got to invite somebody you think would benefit from being in proximity with us. And make sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel to catch all of the replays. If you missed anything, you can catch them there. We will see you back here tomorrow for Deal or No Deal.